welcome, everybody. This is Karen here, your favorite virtual assistant. Thank you for our Sunday Live. Today Live is be another phenomenal conversation. But you know me, Karen here, and as well, you know my co-host Gail. So Gail, just kick it off.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for being here with us another Sunday. My name is Gail. I am a training facilitator and I support businesses with creating unique training programs designed to empower their frontline teams professionally and personally. Today, we are joined by Donnie and Lucille Reddic. They have been married for 400 years. Okay, no, that's a mistake. 37. They've been married for 37 years.
Told you 410.
410. And our topic today, we're talking about the holiday season and how sometimes that can be a little stressful and overwhelming for some of us, especially those of us that are entrepreneurs. So, welcome to the conversation, Donnie and Lucille. And we're going to start by asking you to tell us a little bit about yourselves and your family dynamic. Like, is your family a big one? Is it a small one individually? And then, like, how, when you came together, how did you mesh or merge these two dynamics into dealing with each other's families, especially at the holiday season?
You want to go first? Okay, you said me. All right, so I come from a small family. I'm actually adopted, and my parents they divorced when I was in third grade, and so basically coming up, it was just me and my mom. Now she had some siblings, um, and we would go over to my aunt's house. One aunt for Thanksgiving, a different aunt for Christmas, different ones like that. And then as the cousins got older, then a cousin or two got in the mix. And so that's the way we spent our holidays.
Mm-hmm.
I come from sort of a big family. It was six boys and my mom and dad, and we had nice little Thanksgiving, Christmas holidays at the house with cousins and just celebrated nice and easy and quiet.
Okay.
Wow.
Nice and easy and quiet. So when
Big
you guys
boys,
got
big
married
boys ain't
now,
quiet.
yeah. So when you guys got married now and it's Christmas and you have to decide how you're managing the family. So like Christmas
Hmm.
Day, whose family are you going by, or are these two families coming by you guys? Like how did you work that out?
Well, I'm gonna start it off first. I'm gonna say I didn't know that it would even be a problem. Just uh, just being kind of the personality that I am, I just kind of was like, okay, well, my family eats early. They would usually have dinner ready like 12 o'clock, and they were very timely about that. And so I said,
Yeah.
well, we'll go here first, and then we'll go over to your parents' house later. But then a little later on, I found out that his family did have a problem with it. But I want to go back for a minute. He said a nice and quiet,
That's what
almost
I say.
domino games and card games. His family was the life of the party, so I couldn't wait till we good over there. So
Oh, okay.
let him say.
I mean, well, one time my mom was, why are you going over there and you can be here? But, it worked out as long as I showed up and still had my appetite to eat her food.
That was the biggest thing is that we could still eat there.
Yeah,
They felt like, okay.
'cause we sort of ate a little later
Yeah.
in the
So it
day.
wasn't a matter of you needed to get there by a certain time to eat with the family, which was my situation. So my family was like Lucille. They ate earlier, so they wanted us to be there to eat with them. But then his family was the same, and you can't be in two places at the same time, And everybody wanted
Mm.
you to be there first, so you couldn't even say, "Well, this year we'll do it this way. This year we'll do it the next way." It was just, it was just confusing.
Hmm.
So what else happened? So Lucille, what else happened on your end? So you went over and like did you have any issues trying to choose eating one place first and then going to the other place? Or like how did you manage that dynamic?
I didn't. I think we just had the conversation and talked about it because really there was no time that we needed to be at his parents' house. Uh,
Ah, mm-hmm.
because their celebration was going to be ongoing into the wee hours of the morning.
Oh,
which I absolutely and loved going over to his family's house. So, but I understand that there are people who that's a stressful thing for them, and they have a hard time maybe deciding. And I always say when that's the problem, if that's an issue, that the conversation needs to be had. And I think
Mm-hmm.
that have been for us that Donnie would have communicated with his family and let them know what his decision was. So it didn't seem like it was me dictating. And I would
Mm-hmm.
communicate it with my family. Hey, we're going over here first and then we'll see you guys later. Or we're not gonna come over there at all. So I think it's the family member who should, communicate it with their family so that it's taken in the right context. And then the communication needed to be between us. Um, because we really didn't think it would it would be that big of a deal because we gonna eat. We like to eat.
Right.
We gonna eat a little bit over there, and then in a few hours later we gonna be hungry again, and then we'll eat
Right.
over there. So
So that's
Yeah.
basically what we did. We just went over to her family first because they ate earlier and socialized over there for a little bit. Then shoot back across town to my parents' house
Mm-hmm.
till we
Yep.
got
How far away was it? How much time between the two houses?
oh,
maybe 30 minutes.
Oh,
20 to
that's not
30.
far.
Oh,
No,
that's not bad.
Yeah,
straight.
it
No,
It
shouldn't
is.
not
be.
like it's not like
Yeah,
three
it's not
hours.
bad.
We was
Yeah.
one in Oak. We was in Oak Cliff. My parents lived by Love Field. Straight freeway tow road there in no time.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, that's not bad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I also think that the communication part is essentially important, right? Just not just between you guys as a cast, not just against of course the couples, but also to the family as well. I think
Mhm.
that kind of eliminates a lot of the confusion. Being able to communicate to the family members, say, "Hey, I'll be here first, and then I come here, or I won't be there because my family we celebrate everything late, so we ain't gonna make it to nobody's house but one house." So it has to be a selection. Somebody,
Right.
it's just what it is. I know, I just know that's how we always done it. 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock is when we eating. They cooking
Mm-hmm.
on, So I think that's the key to be able to communicate what is going to happen. Maybe do one family house one time, and then another family the other holidays,
Yep.
or one year one and another year another one. However it makes sense to do.
Now this
But
time we had to keep it. We had to keep it split.
yeah.
Hit them in the mornings and hit mine later that evening.
Yeah, but it worked out for you guys. Good because of time. So it worked out even perfect. But I know
Yep.
my family, that would listen, we late. Tell you right now, it's 12 o'clock, ain't nothing being done. We just shopping right now.
Well, I definitely understand that too. So
Yeah.
So,
I
do you
just
guys think that if I'll ask Donnie this question? So, Donnie, if the situation had been one where your family insisted that you come first, or they got along with Lucille, but not kind of 100% got along with Lucille, and Lucy was uncomfortable going, how would you have handled that if it would have been an issue with your family and Lucille? Because that happens with some people where some people just don't get along with their in-laws no matter how hard they try, and then they feel kind of obligated to have to go and socialize with people who you don't really get along with, and that can be hard.
Yeah, but I was never pushed into that situation. So then I just let my parents and family know I would be there to celebrate with them later that evening. So she understood. Might not didn't like it sometimes, but it worked out.
so what if I didn't get along with your family, which I got along with his family really well. But what do you think? I mean, thinking back, if it had been that I didn't get along with your family, do you think you would have still said, hey, come on, let's stay over here for just a little while, and then
Yeah, I was
leave?
talking this going my way a little bit, then scoot on across town
yeah.
with a
But
community. Try to get her to say, "Let me have my little piece with this side." So yeah,
But I know, knowing the type of person he is, and that he's from a big family. Like, he's the oldest of six boys.
Oh
But
wow.
even outside of that, his family is big. He's got some aunts that have like 9 or 10 kids and stuff like
Okay.
that. So he's got lots of cousins. But knowing how he is and how he feels about his family, I would have, if he had said, hey, can you just show up, for a little while? I wouldn't have had no problem with it. I would have just went and maybe sat over in the corner with a book, because I'm a, I'm a big reader. And
Not with the book.
I think I've done that a couple of times. I do. I just like to read, and uh, I'm not as outgoing sometimes. Or back then, maybe I wasn't. I don't know what it was, but I remember he had a brother that we absolutely everybody loved Travis. And Travis said, "What you doing sitting over here in the corner with a book?" I was like, "Man, this book is good. He said, you better put that book down. You better put that book down and come on over here and do something." So, but
Mm-hmm.
I knew the family was big for him, so I would have went anyway.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
important. But it's funny because I know the last conversation we had, um, you mentioned reference to protecting your partner, right, being there, and I think that that's important. Like, especially creating boundaries within family. Like, even if you have a discord with your family members or your in-laws or whoever that might be, I think it's important as a couple to have unionship, right? To protect each other and have each other's back, against the family, because not in a bad way, but just to let the family know, hey, that's my partner, that's my mate. That's a person that I care about. You might not like the person, but it has to be a certain level of respect amongst everyone. So
Right.
I think that's the important thing. Even the reality is we're not always gonna like everybody, and unfortunately, that might be the in-laws. It might not be the in-laws. It could be the sister or the brother or whoever. But even within that, I think that there has to be a certain level of respect. But that also comes with the mate that you're with, right? Them setting the precedent to the family members to understand, hey, you might not like the person, but also defending that person, because sometimes, I mean, depending on who it is, if they make certain comments and you laughing about it and you go, even if you don't like the comment but you laughing about it, it's kind of stating that you're okay with the
You
comment,
okay with it?
you
Absolutely.
know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yep. I have his back. He's got my back. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
I
definitely.
think what is interesting, Lucille, was a comment that you made when you said he came from a big family, and it wasn't only his immediate, like his brothers. You have aunts, and they're all these cousins. So I guess as you're courting, you need to be aware of what you're going into, because if you are courting Donnie and you realize his family is big, they're very very close. You know that you're gonna have to be a part of these events in the future. So are you willing to be a part of the events? Do you know how important they are to him? Is he
Hmm.
gonna want you to participate irregardless? Is he gonna want you to carry three dishes? Well, for me, I can't really cook two goody goodies, so that would have been a problem. Donnie and I would need to have had a conversation. But because I guess there's signs before you actually, get married as to what your holidays may or may not look like. And I guess communication is very important. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about, expectations and how we're gonna manage them.
Absolutely. And you bring up a excellent point, is realizing what you're getting yourself into.
Into.
Yeah. When you say I do, uh, is he a big family man, or are you a big family woman?
Hmm.
The couple really needs to sit down and have those conversations, and be willing to compromise. I think compromise is so big. It's not going to be where it's going to be my way all the time. And I'm an only child. I want it to be my way all the time. Why are you looking at me like that?
Mm.
I see the wheels turning in your head. Anyway, I'm an only child. I want it to be my way all the time. But I do compromise, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, and eventually you come.
Eventually, I didn't start at the very beginning compromising. I thought I did.
So
That's interesting, the dynamic, because you are an only child and Donnie
Yeah.
is from a very big family. So right there, you have two different dynamics that you're gonna have to work through, especially at the holidays.
Absolutely.
So what advice, Lucille, would you give to people thinking of getting married. Do you cover this? Do you cover conversations like these in your marriage conversations? You know, with people who want to get married and they're coming to you for counseling or
No,
for
I haven't touched on the holidays, but you know what? I think I'm going to add that to the repertoire because
Mm-hmm.
mm, you
people are so
should.
stressed over the holidays. Now, um, I wrote a piece not too long ago about it. Um, Managing, talking about budgets as far as,
Mm-hmm.
if you want to give a lot of gifts or something and they don't want to and we don't have the
Mm-hmm.
money or whatever. And I can think back to a time early in our marriage. I want to say in our first year. Donnie bought these he bought a lot of presents for his family and he put it on a credit card. Now we never had the conversation about it, but I was pissed about it, really. And it wasn't that he was giving the gifts because I understand you want to give gifts, but the fact that it was on the credit card. Because I'm a saver and he's a spender.
Uh,
And so lots of times you're mismatched in that
yeah.
area. And so the conversations need to be had about those type of things. But I definitely think I'm going to start adding that to the repertoire. How you can have conversations about schedules because, you know, um, we both work in we work, we both work a 9 to 5. I have a business on the side. He has a farming business on the side. So
Mm.
we pulled a lot of different ways in trying to manage that. But I will say this: what we do, and this don't have anything to do with holidays, is we have a date night.
Oh,
Mm.
We have a date
okay.
night on the calendar all the time, and we've been doing that for well, we started a long time ago when our kids were young. We heard somebody say something about a date night, and we started doing it. And we kind of fell off or whatever, and then we kind of put it back on the burner. And we'll go out to eat. But I know in my head that whatever I'm doing, that I gotta allow that time.
Mm-hmm.
That's our time together. We're gonna go. We're gonna do something, even if he's late coming back from the farm. Whatever. I know I'm not putting a whole lot into that. I might work until he gets here because he's gonna come in and take a shower and then gonna say, "Let's go get something to eat." But I already know it's on the schedule. It's in my mind. It's on a Saturday night, sometimes a Friday night if we need to or whatever. But having that prescribed time in the schedule helps me know what's coming and I can do my schedule around that. Did you have anything to say about that?
No, well, we have a schedule that way, taking time out to appreciate each other. Just that quiet time, movie dinner, playing Yahtzee, just us, chilling, having a good time.
I
Yes.
love that. I see you flushing still.
All right.
Do you,
I
do
love
you
it.
guys do
Appreciate you.
any? Do you guys do any entertainment and sorry, entertaining at your home over the holidays?
Over the holidays, we do.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And not just the Christmas holidays. He thinks he's a pit master, and he really is good about barbecuing and grilling.
Mm.
And so he most of the time, like the fourth, those hot holidays, the 4th of July, what is it, Memorial Day, Labor Day,
So, yeah, those are my days.
those are his days.
Mm,
Now
okay.
the kitchen gonna
Mm-hmm.
look like a disaster, but I'm telling you, he gonna have some good food for us.
Food.
And he invites
Mm-hmm.
all of the relatives. He'll call all his
Ah.
nieces and everything and tell them, to come by and fix a plate. I'll call my girlfriends or whatever and tell them, hey, come by and fix a plate. We're gonna try to play some games or whatever. And so knowing that comes up. But I said something funny this last time because I do all the cleaning, right? To get the house ready. I'm dusting and I'll tell you, I don't know where all this dust comes from, but you gotta dust and clean up and mop and vacuum and get stuff looking neat because it's not gonna look bad on him, it's gonna look bad on me.
Right.
And so I say, why do we do ourselves like this? We invite all these people and then we have to go, then we getting so tired and frustrated and geared up just trying to get everything ready, but then the people come and you enjoy being with each other. And so
Yeah.
I thought it was just me this last time, and I asked him, I say, why do we do ourselves like this?
I said to myself, out here cleaning pits, seasoning meat. I said, there's a whole lot of work to be done. But at the end, you know, your friends over, family over, and you sit back, chill out, and watch them enjoy. Hopefully, they enjoy your cooking,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and it makes it worth it.
Right. Yeah.
And then we do it all over again the next time.
But I think it goes back to what you said earlier, Lucille, about the compromising because A, Donnie loves doing it
Right.
and you love Donnie. So you're going to compromise. And even though the cleaning up may be a bit overwhelming for you, he loves it. So you're gonna do it because you love him and he
Right.
loves it, if that makes sense. And I guess too, what this is showing me, I guess, is that it goes back a lot to your mindset and your perspective of how you see things. So, like for example, if Donnie was to say, "Okay, Lucille, we're gonna have Christmas lunch at our house this year," and you discuss it, and you really see he wants to do this because he loves his family and he wants to be with his family. I guess you would, Lucille, more flex to him. I mean, I see you smiling. I would not be able to flex because we're gonna have it would need to be catered because or everybody's gonna have to bring something because that's gonna be a problem. So I guess too, so I think it's the compromising. I think it's flexing to your spouse or your significant other. But I also think it's the communication and knowing what people love doing versus their limitations. So like Donnie, I'm sure if you knew that I really did not like entertaining from the perspective of the preparation involved. I don't mind hosting your family, but we would need to come up with another arrangement because at the end of it all, I'm going to be so stressed and miserable and overwhelmed. I'm not going to be able to enjoy myself. And then after everybody's gone, we're not going to be doing too well between ourselves either. And for a long time, Donnie, I can remember you and keep you in mind for a long time. But I said at the beginning last Sunday, I'm a divorce statistic for a reason. Yeah. So yeah, I'm not easy. I'm better now. But I'm just thinking, looking back, it's a lot of compromising and conversation, but really knowing the person that you're with and not, they love you, yes, but not taking them for granted to the extent that you expect because you ask them, they will say yes
Right.
at their expense of their mental health. Because I think mental health and emotional wellness is very, very important. And you have to put on your mask first before you can put on somebody else's.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So that's why we go let her know that we'll figure how many people we wants to come over and set a schedule and get that lined out together. Then put it into works to host it.
Yep. Now you mentioned something just a minute ago about limitations. Um, Knowing and really paying attention to your partner is such a big thing, and I talk about that a lot when I talk to women. To really try to listen to what your partner's saying. Listen more so than with your head. Listen with your heart, but be aware. Like you mentioned to Karen earlier about realistic expectations.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
I know his limitations, and I think he knows my limitations too on what will fly and what won't fly. Now, he makes me better as a person because I really can just stay in this house, read a bunch of books, look at some movies every once in a while, be on the computer. I don't have to see nobody.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Your sister here, Lucille. I'm your sister.
So, and then, the other part that I balance him on is keeping everything structured, having everything in its place, putting up systems, that type of thing. That's what I do for him. And so sometimes he has wanted to prepare a meal for a holiday and wanted to have it done by a certain time. And I just ask him, what can I do to help?
Mm-hmm.
Will it help you if I take the meat out ahead of time? Will it help you if I, can season the meat for you or whatever it is I can do to help? What is it that I can do to help you? And then that allows him to say, whereas normally he might not would say, "Hey, I need help," but I come and ask him, "What can I do to help?" And then if he's, does that help you when I ask you?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. I already I have in my mind I have a wacky structure of cooking, and so I have it lined out. Then sometimes I get a little behind my schedule and say, "Why do I do this to myself?" Then she offered. I'll say, "You can do this or do that," but mainly is why am I cleaning these pits to cook when I don't feel like it sometimes at the last minute.
Mm-hmm.
She'll volunteer every now and then, and it'll help out.
Yep.
She does as long as they get the sides together, because
Mm-hmm.
my deal is strictly the meat. I used to do potato salad, but I'll leave that to her now.
So we
Yeah.
both have our part to play in.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so that's
Yeah.
what,
So you're a team. I like that. You're a
Yeah.
team.
Right.
yeah,
You're a team, and you support each
absolutely
other.
team.
Yeah.
But the three things that I had wrote down that you told me to have I think, and
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
we touched on them, is the communication piece, being willing to compromise, and having realistic expectations. And so I think uh, those are reusable. They go with everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
With the marriage relationship, with trying to um, uh, coordinate our schedules, trying to coordinate our budgets, all of that. If we just communicate and compromise and have realistic expectations of each other, then usually we're not so frazzled. Whereas I'm feeling, um, I guess maybe unappreciated. He mentioned appreciated before, because it's easy for me to get into that because of some of my background and everything. And so when we communicate and I can express my feelings on something, then it usually works out well. And he's not really a big talker, but he'll when he says something, I mean, it's a zinger. It's kind of like,
Right.
oh, okay. It's thought provoking. He's not a person that just talks just to talk, whereas sometimes I think I can be. But his is always well thought out and well placed. And so you're like, oh, okay, I never thought about it that way. And
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
that helps me too.
I used to have poker night on Friday nights, and she was a big help to me on that, especially ordering the pizzas for me and little odds and ends with the food, and make coffee for the guys. They like coffee, and she just fade away into the background,
Yeah, nothing about no poker.
and we in the den just playing away, having a good time.
Mm-hmm.
And she already had ordered the pizza delivered, and or go pick it up for me, and little odds and ends, stuff like that make you appreciate it much more.
Teamwork.
Yeah, there were odds and ends, Donnie.
Right.
Now is
Yeah.
sometimes it's the little things that become the big things. I mean, most. I mean, Lucy, loving you as a person, I'm learning so much from you. A
Yeah.
bit
Me
late,
too.
but I'm still learning. Should have met you before. Should have met you before.
Yeah. No, I do. I just love how y'all appreciate each other and how y'all protect
Yeah,
each
and
other.
I love how Lucille supports. I mean, I love how both of you support each other, but I
Mhm.
think I'm appreciating how Lucille supports Donnie, especially from the point of view of today. We expect women to be assertive, independent. We have our rights and we have all kinds of stuff, and sometimes that can affect the relationship we have with our spouse or our significant other because we're independent and we don't want to be as flexible as we could be because for some reason we may see it as it makes us less of a person to go out of our way to help him. So I don't know if that makes sense. It's like you keep saying we have rights, okay, men, we have rights, do whatever you need to do for yourself kind of thing, but still open the door for me to get in and out of the building, still pull out the chair for me. I'm sure those are such confusing messages for men, and I can see Donnie looking at me like, yeah, it's confusing, but I'm just saying that I like that, Lucille. So Lucille, you would do the coffee for Donnie's guys. I'm assuming it's guys, whoever he has over for the poker and order the pizza and stuff. I mean, yeah, I may order the pizza. I feel they can make the coffee themselves. Do whatever you have to do. Like, hello, y'all are big grown men working at the there. Y'all must know how to make coffee. But that did not help me, no, did it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
However, I still think it goes back to how your feelings for your spouse. If you really love this person and they mean that much to you, nothing, as long as you can do it, nothing should be an issue because you want to do it because you love them. So you want to help him, and he's not gonna do anything, to cross that line of that expectation that he has of you. He's not gonna expect you to have to make the pizza, but I'm sure he appreciates you ordering it. So I think it's the little things as well, whatever little thing you can do, because marriage is hard. Relationships are hard, but if you flex each other and have that open, honest communication, like, well, you know what, Donnie, when you threw the pizza box next to the garbage and you didn't put it in the garbage, that bothered me. And you say that with a smile, and you say, I'm telling you that with love, Donnie, so you wouldn't do it again. Um, that helps. Communication for me was missing, honest communication. You don't want to hurt the person's feelings. You don't like cooking at Christmas, but you do it, just to avoid conflict. And then at the end, nobody is happy. So I think the communication is very important, and the expectations, but they need to be realistic. Are
Yeah.
you expecting something unrealistic of your spouse? That's the
Yeah.
question. Can
If
they do?
if she has her small group over, sometimes I know ahead of schedule enough. I'll cook for them just to
Mhm.
give her a little break on the cooking part. Close the meat on the grill and make sure they're happy.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's a keeper, Lucille. He's
Yeah.
a keeper.
Yeah.
Okay.
And something you said brought something to mind. Service.
Yeah.
I
Mm-hmm.
don't mind serving him, and he doesn't mind serving me. You
Mm-hmm.
know,
Mm-hmm.
in the 37 years that we've been together, there have been lots of ups and downs, and it's never been a 50-50 type thing. Sometimes it's been 100 and 0 because maybe I was down bad. And then other times it's maybe 100% for me and he's down bad. So we just there to serve each other. And so that's what I think is so important if couples would go into it with a mindset of serving each other. And she said he's a keeper.
Yeah.
If people would go into it with the mindset of I'm here to serve. And for me, my end goal for us, our family, was that I didn't want a divorce. I wanted to get married just one time. And I was
Mm-hmm.
going to do whatever I could do um, to make that happen. Now, I know it takes two people
Mm-hmm.
to do that. But if I'm serving and pouring into him, um, it has shown to that seed of me pouring in and watering or whatever has yielded good fruit. If I could just use it in that metaphor, it has yielded good fruit. That um, if I go into it with a selfish mindset of I'm not going to do that because he's not doing this, or I'm not going to do whatever it is, um, that has not worked well for me. Now, I'm not saying that uh, it wouldn't work well for somebody else. I can only comment on what has worked for me and what I have seen work for other women. And so that is what I tell women and men too. If you go into it with a servant's heart, serve your
Mm-hmm.
partner and be willing to compromise, communicate, set some healthy boundaries, and have some realistic expectations. Those can get you through the holidays, get you through the bad days, get you through the good days, get you through all days.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's a good
I
point.
love that. I
Yeah,
love that
especially
because it's
what
not only the holidays.
what this person just mentioned is the expectation. It's expected him to do it versus him offering, and I think
Oh,
that's a
yes,
that's a
yes.
big thing.
I used to expect I I used to expect Donnie to see things, and he wouldn't see them. But in my mind, I thought that he did see them, and he just chose not to do them because he just wanted to uh, make me angry. I'm gonna say
Mhm.
make me angry instead of the pissed off word. But anyway, and so I just had to understand that he's not me, and so I
Mhm.
can't expect him to do things the way I want them, the way I would do them, or see the things the way I see them. And so anything
Mhm.
that I need him to do, I just simply just ask him, "Hey, baby,
Mm,
can you get the trash? It's overflowing, or can you take this out for me? Can you help me hang this? Can you help me move this? Will you do this for me? You know, whatever it is." Because just expecting him to be a mind reader, that doesn't work.
right,
Yeah,
That
yeah.
doesn't work.
right. And yeah, I like
Donnie,
what you
Donnie, do
just
you agree?
mentioned.
Yes. It'd be things she's looking for me, and I have no clue. I just
Mhm.
go
Mhm.
about my little business till she say something. Then I said, okay, then you'll get it taken care of.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's
So,
not that you didn't do it deliberately. It's just
no,
that. Yeah.
lately I've been trying to be a little bit more observant than I have been in the past.
Mhm.
I have
How's
to be.
that working out for you, Donnie? Is
Sometimes
it
it works
working?
out fine when I think about it. If I don't want to hear no lips, so I try sometime to get ahead of hearing any comments.
I give you a lot of lip.
So
Comments and lip,
I
Lucille.
know I do.
everything ain't.
I know I do.
But I try to make sure it gets done.
That's good.
I
That's
still have
good.
my bad habits, they'll be there.
Yeah.
Ah,
No, I like what you mentioned there as far as
But
coming from a place of servitude, right? Y'all serving each other, and y'all able to put your ego and the pride to the side to serve each other. And I think
yeah.
that's
Yeah.
important too. You have to, like when it comes to love or relationships, you have to be able to put the pride and the ego to the side. Because
Mhm.
if you're coming from that space, it's really never going to work. Especially when you expect, oh, if I do this, then he'll do this, or if I do that, the person will do this.
Yeah.
And you mentioned that point last time, right, Lucille, when you said sometimes you have to be the one to take that role, right, and
Yeah,
then the person will follow because they see you doing it. But then, as far as what you just mentioned, the communicating part to let the person know what you like to be done, opposed to commanding, right, what you want to
exactly.
be done. I think
Exactly.
that's the key. But I know you said, was that the two tips where you mentioned as far as
Yeah. Three.
expectation,
Mhm.
I
right?
said communication,
Let me put it up here. Oh,
compromise, and realistic expectations.
Mhm.
let's see if
And
people can read it.
then I said boundaries a few minutes ago, and I didn't expound on the boundaries part. Knowing what I'm responsible for and what I'm not responsible for.
Mm,
I used to early on, I wanted to take ownership of everything. And uh, everything wasn't for me to take ownership of, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
What he's responsible for it, if that's what he's going to do. And I'm responsible for what I'm responsible for. And I don't take ownership. And I can't think, I'm trying to think of of an example right quick, and I'm not really coming up with one um, that would really bring it home. But I'm not talking about, financial responsibilities or anything like that. But I'm just talking about uh, just normal things that I would try to take ownership of and feel like it was my responsibility, or I had let someone down if I didn't do that. That's not my responsibility. So when I just put up the role and I say, look, this is what I can do, especially when I went back to school. I can use that as an example. When I went back to college, I went back to college late in life, actually in 2011, after our youngest daughter graduated from college.
mm,
I said, okay, it's time for me. I had put my life on hold and I hadn't finished my degree. It's time for me to go back and finish my degree. And I told my husband, I said, hey, I'm not going to be able to do all the cooking and cleaning that you're accustomed to because I've got to have this time for schoolwork. And so I was able to let let my guard down or let my expectations of myself down on that. So that brings up the conversation piece, right? We communicated. I
Mhm.
told him, and he said, "No problem, don't worry about it." So he wasn't expecting me to do what I normally do because now we've had the conversation. He knows I'm in school, and we're moving together in that framework. And he was always very supportive. If whatever I needed for school, and he's still very supportive with my side business. He knows what I have to do for my regular 9 to 5, and so we are just one team in that regard. But yes, the boundaries for me were so important. I don't know if it's necessarily important for him, but I wanted to take ownership of everything, and so um, knowing that I couldn't take ownership of everything and having certain boundaries where this is what I'm responsible for, this is what I can do, and this is what I can't do. And then, if I may say one more thing, the other piece when we were talking about communicating, I was able to communicate in a way that said, when you do this, this makes me feel this,
Mhm.
Mhm. Mhm.
instead of the blaming and complaining, which I did plenty
Mhm.
of early on. I've grown to this. This is not something that I've been into, but you don't ever do this, you don't ever do that, you don't ever do this.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
just stopped saying that, and I was able to put words to it to say, "Hey, when you do this, it makes me feel this way. Can you help me out and don't do that?" And so we
Mhm.
had the conversation. So
Yeah, it's what. Yeah,
I
that's a
love
good
that.
tip. Yeah,
I
especially when
love
it
that.
comes to communication, right?
Yeah.
Because I know you have an ebook, and then you have 7 ways to improve communication in a marriage and deepen your relationship. And I think that's the key point. So, when it comes to the ebook, I mean, assuming everybody should benefit, because even before marriage, I know we're speaking about marriage here, but even for those in a relationship, if you cannot work on the communication, you're not gonna get to marriage or the community or the marriage. People assume, oh, when we get married, it's gonna get better. No, it usually gets worse. It doesn't help being married if that frame part is not there.
yeah.
So when it comes communication for the ebook, exactly who is it for and what would they be learning? I know it's communication because everybody have their own way of communicating. There's different ways of communicating. So what exactly are they getting? I'm going to post a link here for those that want.
Okay. Thank you for bringing that up. Yeah. So the ebook, it's very short, quick read. Quick read. It's in PDF, and it's about, I want to say, maybe 7 little pages. If I had to give time to it, when I say short, uh, maybe 3 or 4 minute read, something like that. But it's 7 uh, communication tips, and it's for everybody. Uh, it's primarily geared, and the examples that I use in it are geared towards spouses, husbands, and
Mhm.
wives. But really, when you think about the communication, it could go for any type of relationship. Your uh, relationships with your relatives, co-workers, friends, all of that. But it is definitely geared towards the marriage relationship, and it could be for husbands or wives.
Yeah, that's a good. I mean, listen, communication is I think is key in all relationships, not just marriage. But to we, especially today, we speaking on marriage and relationships, marriage specifically, right? I think that's key. Just to build that communication, even for those that maybe are not married, right? They're just in a relationship, and I think they need to strengthen that part in a relationship, and just what you just mentioned, servitude, right? Putting the ego and the pride to the side, to serve each other. But that have to come on both ends, right? Both of them people have to have that communication. But I think also, not just that. From my experience, I find that being able to have the deep conversation, right? Not the buffing and the happy conversations. Really being able to have the tough conversations with your partner. I think that creates a long and lasting relationship and allow the person to express themselves, even if you don't agree with whatever's going to be said. Allow that space for that person to be able to say whatever it is they feel and whatever it is they thinking, because that ultimately that will help your relationship.
Yeah. Don't
um,
invalidate somebody else's emotions.
yeah.
If that person says, "Look, this bothers me," or "This makes me feel a certain way when you do this," then definitely, take that into consideration and
Mhm.
value that their emotions are valid. and
Mhm.
explain, hey, this is not what I meant by that. But I can definitely do something different if that's
Right.
causing you harm. I don't, that's not what I want to do. I don't want to cause you harm.
Right. Right.
Donnie and I have had, conversations where he has said something, and I thought what I heard was one thing, and I said, "Are you saying such and such?" And he said, "No, that's not what I'm saying at all."
Yeah, yeah. But you know what, Lucille? There was a good point you made earlier on where we talked about signs, and sometimes even though your spouse or your partner may not say that what you're doing is bothering them, you can tell by their body language or how they're reacting to a situation that something is bothering them. And you had
Mm.
also said earlier, sometimes you have to be the one to make the move. So that's your key or your cue rather to say, okay, Donnie, I realize that every time I do X, I see this is your response. So let's talk about it. Is it bothering you? Is it something I'm saying, something I'm doing? Are you that upset because we keep leaving home late and getting to your family late? I'm just throwing that out as an example. I I don't know, Lucille, but I'm just saying,
You
sometimes
been
you,
in my
you pick
home?
up their signs. You pick up these signs, so they may not say anything. I find that, you can tell by the body language, okay, this person is upset with whatever you're doing. And if it continues every single time, you need to have a conversation, especially if they're not raising it.
Right, right. You bring up a point. Tardiness.
His face is so funny. He's like, what?
You don't like
Donnie,
to
do
be
you want
late.
to tell us, Donnie? Talk to us, Donnie.
Yes. That's,
How 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 does tardiness bother you, Donnie?
I like to be on time.
Yeah,
that
so
is
do
too
I.
I like to
funny.
certain times, get there. Where you get there, you can get a chance to get a
Yeah,
seat where you
chill
want
out and breathe.
to,
Yeah,
and not just
correct. And breathe a little bit.
yeah. Like I have some niece, they'll come in, they late, but it's my kids are late. You know,
So that it used to bother you that I was late all the time.
yeah, because I like to be on time. You got to be on time for your job, so be on time for your private events.
So I realized that he didn't like being late because I was a person who just wanted to get there on time.
Mhm. Right.
Or
To
you
get
wanted to
there
get there
early,
early.
that was like a waste of time for me.
Right. Yeah.
But I see the advantages of it. I found out that he don't like it so much. And we're back to that conversation piece. I told him that if he wants me to be on time, don't ask me to iron your shirt the day of. Don't ask me to iron your pants. Don't have all of this stuff that you done added to my plate when I got a certain time frame
Hmm.
that I know
Making you late. No, you're gonna be
I gotta have my
late.
makeup on by a certain time. I know I got my dressing stuff together, and then I got his stuff. And it don't take a man no time to get ready. I done ironed his shirt and
Correct.
pants. We ready now, and I'm still getting ready. I said, nope.
right.
If we're gonna be on time, you're gonna have
Yeah.
to get this stuff done the day before.
That's
Hmm.
so
And
funny.
that's worked out well for us, hasn't it?
A little bit.
I've been being on time, right?
I will wait till last minute if I need a shirt or something.
But do I earn it?
Yeah.
I do.
Oh, I'll take and throw it in the dryer now.
Much easier, Donnie. Much easier. No, you
Yeah,
don't have to ask anybody to earn it.
And he been taking his stuff to the cleaner and getting them
Oh,
pressed. So that
okay.
way it's already hung up and ironed. So I don't have
Yeah.
to.
I know you're on time, right, Lucille? Are you on
I'm
time
on
now?
time now. I've been being on time.
Yeah.
He don't look too convinced.
it's getting there. I mean,
I thought okay, I'm gonna work on it. I'm gonna work on
Okay.
it. Better though, right? Can you say
yeah,
it's
it's
better?
getting better. Yeah.
You say a
You're
lot
begging
better.
for that, Lucille. You're begging for that.
It's a
Well,
lot
do
better.
you
That's too
do you
funny.
guys have any closing thoughts? Like, what's the one
Yes.
biggest takeaway you'd want our viewers to leave with today? What's the one biggest thing?
The one biggest thing, since the title of our thing was talking about surviving during the holidays for family, is I would say compromise.
Mhm.
Compromise and communicate. You said one, but
Yeah,
compromise
it's
and
okay.
It's
communication.
okay.
Yeah, they both start with C, so that's one.
Yeah, communication. Yeah. Let your partner know what's on your mind for the holidays. Don't just spring it on them at the last minute. Oh, let's do this, that, and the other, or don't go over budget. Have these conversations. And then if you're the one that's tight on the budget, maybe loosen it up a little bit for the holidays if your partner wants to spend a little bit more in
Hmm.
an area for gift giving. But definitely I would say above everything, conversation and compromise.
Compromise. That's a
Yeah.
good tip.
Yeah.
Donnie, do you want to add anything? But Lucille, I would say compromise and communicate, because it's not only with your spouse. Because if you're not married and your family is making this demand on you, you should communicate with them as well. And if you need to compromise, so I think that communication could be, within your relationship or to your family who may
Mm-hmm.
want you to do unrealistic things. So you need to have that conversation. What's your closing thought for us, Donnie?
This compromise has a lot to do with it, and if you got certain family members that sort of acts up when it gets to, just have a
Mm-hmm.
early talk with them. I don't mind
Mm-hmm.
you coming over, but please leave this other part at home. That way we can all have a nice holiday gathering with everybody.
Yeah, I
Mm.
like that.
I
I
like
like
that
that.
too.
And be on time for Donnie.
Yep, that's a good one.
Any closing thoughts, Karen? Before
No,
we
listen, I enjoyed today's live a lot. I
so did
listen,
I.
Donnie, thank you so much. I know you was like, you guys told me 30 minutes,
Oh, I'm good.
and you had so much fun. You didn't realize it's been over an hour. See?
I left my phone in the other room, and
Oh,
So you could be 100% here.
but
Good
thank you. I
job.
appreciate it. Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
I've been expecting it, so I was born. And
Like I said, I'm so thankful. Thank you for agreeing to do this with me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, and thanks for
Yeah,
both
we
of
okay.
thank
you.
both of you. We
Yeah,
thank
thank
both
both of
of
you.
you for having this conversation, which is important as usual for a lot of our viewers. And actually, this is our last live stream
For the
event
year.
for the year.
Yeah.
So we
Oh, we
want to
closed out the
wish we're
year.
closing us out,
Yes.
closing us out. So we wanted to wish everybody happy
Mm,
holidays. And
yes.
may your Christmas be, if you celebrate Christmas, because I know everybody doesn't, but may the holiday season be filled with the important things, the love, the laughter, time with family and friends, and peace. I think one of the very important things in the midst of all this war and turmoil going on, the layoffs and the Elon Musk and the Twitter.
Right.
Let's just
I
have
know.
some peace for this season. Just let's have some peace and look forward to
Yes.
2023 and hopefully make it a better year than it was for 2022.
Yes. And I did put the links on the comments for Lucille. We want to follow Lucille, Gail, and myself. I don't have Donnie's because I don't know if he has.
He's not on
He
social
doesn't
media.
have. Okay, so he's not social media guy. You ain't gonna follow, but follow Lucille. Okay.
I'm
If
not
you
even
have a question, she'll ask him, and then she'll type it in for you on his
I'm
behalf.
not even on Facebook. They be looking for me on Facebook.
He's like, but
They
thank
find
you.
her and my kids.
Yeah, they reached out to us. Do you know Donnie? Yeah, that's my husband.
So there you guys go. Listen, have a great Merry Christmas and a blessed New Year. And 2023 is right around the corner, so y'all be safe and have a great one. Okay,
Thank
Okay,
you.
see you.
happy
Thank you very
Sunday,
much.
Bye.
everybody.
Bye
Bye.
Bye.
bye.